Hey everybody, hello. I'm Sandy Rakowitz and we're here today illuminating positive change with the Akashic Masters, and we're going to see what they have to say. There's a lot of topics that have been very important and big and hot for this week that I have been seeing come up for my clients and in the collective of who I speak with, healers and light workers of many different types from many different areas in the United States and around the world. And so there's things about boundaries, a lot of struggles, a lot of challenges to boundaries, what that means for people, and a lot of work around people who are very nurturing, women who are very nurturing, and that sense of overgiving, of always having to be available for others, and in what ways, and how to be able to take care of yourself well, and how that influences, for those who are in business, how that influences your day-to-day life with clients, how that influences money, how it influences how you create your business, how you create your offerings, and in your day-to-day relationships with people, how you are with what people say to you, how you are with what you say and bring out in the world, what your voice is. So boundaries affect so many different things, and it all has so much to do with what we are feeling about ourselves inside and what our beliefs are around that, what we believe to be true. How can I not take that call? How can I think, people saying things like, that was such a big one earlier. How can I not take those phone calls? They are more in need than I am. And so with that energy, there's so much depletion that happens. There's so much give. It comes from a heartful place, but it's not come from a place of claiming what is needed for yourself, and how that, these are the Akashic Masters talking through me, and what is able to come through you gets drained and depleted because you're not staying plugged in with yourself, plugged in with source, plugged in with your that what they're showing me is the abundance of energy coming up from the earth and the abundance of energy coming in from the divine, and how that circulates through you, and it pushes up against those places where you believe, whether it's conscious or not. Often these are unconscious beliefs about what you deserve. Are you good enough in and of yourself? Do you deserve to take that space and time for you? Is it okay for somebody to, will you tolerate somebody exploding at you, directing stuff at you that has nothing really to do with you, but because of what you stand for, it's triggering something for them and they're offloading onto you? What happens in those interactions? How can you be inside yourself solidly and feel a sense of safety for yourself? Depends upon where that lands for you, what it touches and triggers in you in terms of your own sense of worth, your own sense of deserving, your own sense of what is okay to be, what is okay to not take in, right? And how do you say no in a way that is clear and direct, and also is in the energy of giving for yourself, not always out of a place of anger, so that it's anger at anger, so that it's not happening that way. These are what they're saying. It's areas of great importance for everyone, how to not fall into the enmeshment of patterns that you may have known growing up, how to not react from the place of the child within who is triggered, how to be with what those emotions are in a way that is honoring and sacred for you without turning away from that within yourself. How to be with grief and sadness and what that touches inside of you, what arises from within you, and how to respond to that in a way where you can find empowerment and not get lost in the sea of grief and sadness, which has been historically very easy for people to do, and then to become more depleted and not be able to have boundaries around it. And what they're saying is, even in grief and sadness, to allow yourself the space and time to have those feelings, again, not get lost in it, but to find what is that's even underneath that you may not have tapped into about connection. And in creating that space for yourself and with others, where you are in respect for yourself and with the other, and not allowing somebody else's values and judgments to infringe upon you, and you create those boundaries, those internal boundaries, by that self-honoring and that way of self-caring and becoming firm in that, so that you can stay in relation with yourself, that path of connection with yourself in ways that are really important for you, while being able to maintain that with another. They're different aspects of the same thing. And another topic, so there's 3 areas: boundaries, grief and sadness, and I'm closing my eyes just to tune in, because there's been a lot about money that's been so up. It's often up in business, because I work with so many entrepreneurs and people who are wanting to get started, who have already had businesses, who've been going for quite some time, and how to tap into their own divine codes and their personal blueprint, their unique strengths, and being able to be in business, which also means deal with money. If you're in business, it's a part of dealing with money, which means dealing with your belief systems, your belief structures around money, abundance, wealth, prosperity, scarcity, and your sense, back to your sense of self and worth, asking for money, coming up with your ideas and how you want to present whatever it is that's coming through you from a divine place, right? That a business comes through you. You are asked to bring forward this work into the world in the form of, in this culture these days, in the form of a business, and to be able to sustain that and thrive in that and be flexible and flow with that. It also means challenging so many belief structures around these areas of boundaries, of what it means for prosperity, what it means for your own sense of self. And what the guides are saying right now is, and often there is a deep sense of grief for not being able to sustain yourself in these practices, for depleting yourself, for giving yourself away, for overgiving, for letting yourself be overstepped by others as a reflection of you not being able to hold that bowl of container, that sustenance for yourself in strong and respectful ways, and how it is that you can give up having your voice, how you can withhold or they're showing me like have your voice so far down inside in a way where you're not accessing it, where you're not allowing these aspects and aspects of yourself, of your divinity, of your uniqueness, of your blueprint of what you're here for, to be verbal, to be expressed, to come out more fully into the world. And so in thinking with all of this, these are often topics that I work with clients one-to-one and in my groups, and really dive into these and helping people to clear those limitations, releasing them, and also being able to have that access so that all of these things that we're talking about can come up organically and fluidly, and be able to feel more plugged in, to feel more in contact and connection with themselves, with their soul, and with source all together. And that includes, of course, with your animals. I work so much with animals and with people, and so it's how the animals and nature assist this awakening also, because they truly do. And so it's through that bond, that beautiful and amazing connection that we have with animals, that it helps us tap into the depths of our hearts and are showing us what is possible in relating with one another. And I'm just going to pause for a minute, because it feels like there's a shift happening with the guides. They're shifting into some another range of what they want to share today. And so they're doing some clearing, and there's been a lot of this happening that I've been seeing in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months especially, where there's a lot of clearing into like the root of what they're saying right now is the root of humanity, and how these topics that are being brought forward today have been held collectively, and that if you're feeling any of these areas, any resonance whatsoever, that to know that there is a collective holding of this as well. That this is not only you, that you are one of many, of how all of this has been held, and how we are in an age of breaking through. That's what the term awakening the places that know that there's another way inside of you, that there's other pathways of connection, that there's ways of being in harmony, even with your relationship with yourself, relationship with others, relationship with your animals, relationship with the earth, relationship with your soul and with source, and how these can work in greater harmony. And they're saying, don't mistake if something happens during the day, if somebody says something and you feel off-put by that, if you get angry or you get sad, you see something happening in the world, that is also part of your soul saying, I recognize that this is out of sync and that there's more here. And what they are saying to be careful of is to then not project outwards as to everybody else's fault, but to see how what your piece of this puzzle is for you and how you have been holding it. I did that movement because I was feeling that inside of myself, even of just how I have even been holding it, right? We all have places where we have held these elements, aspects of things in our own selves, and how we can let new, different, fuller connections keep opening. That is our evolving. That is the awakening happening as it continues with each and every, they're saying, episode, aspect of what happens that doesn't feel okay. Name it what you like, they say. Name it by many different names. So they're doing some more clearing. Because with these words, there are also energies and activations that are coming through that are accessible for, available for anyone who chooses to watch. And that this will have a ripple effect even if people aren't watching. All for being able to feel the preciousness of your own heart, the preciousness of your own being, the preciousness of your relationships with each other, the preciousness of the love they're saying that is all around all the time, often unseen or unacknowledged, but it is here and available all the time. When a cat rubs up against you, when you feel a cat purring on your chest, or when you greet an animal and they're a dog and they're wagging their tail, or a horse touches your face, or you contact each other in a gentle and compassionate way, when you greet each other in a way that is comforting, soothing, uplifting, inspiring with another, these are all demonstrations of the love that is all around you and that is flowing through you. And that the more that these moments get acknowledged in your own day, and you appreciate that in your own day, the more you can open those channels, those avenues, those pathways of contact and connection, and open them in your day and invite them into the places that have been difficult. For strengthening, for fueling that strength that is within you, even if you have felt broken, even if you have felt broken down, even if you have felt a sense of scarcity, even if you have felt like things are impossible, especially in the face of all those places. That is the point. Those are the places that need more attunement, not to those beliefs and how those patterns have been holding in you, but knowing someplace inside of your heart, because your soul knows more, is available and possible. And to ask for that, and to get assistance with those places, those challenging places that have been stuck, so that you can grow yourself more powerfully, gently, comfortingly, but strongly. So that you can fill your own bowl, your own container, the bowl of your pelvic body, the bowl of where support happens inside of you energetically, emotionally, and allowing the flow that comes from the anchoring, the rooting here into the earth, letting that flow up, and also the connection from the divine coming in through your heart and in and washing through into this bowl of that can be a bowl of abundance of support, abundance of comfort, abundance of flow, abundance of creativity, of sensuality, of where things get held to be created through the physical body. The imagery this week has come up about how these old beliefs have been held like shackles, and have people, and how you have felt a sense of imprisoned and enslaved to these old ways of thinking, not really feeling you can, or knowing how to break out, to release them, to, no matter, the phrases have come up about no matter how hard I try, it doesn't change. When you say things like that, know that you are in a pattern and a system of believing that has likely been there not only through your lifetime, but that there is likely an ancestral relationship, and that this can change, that they've been held and locked in, yes, for long periods of time, if you look in duality. But when you enter into the quantum realm, which is what I do with my clients, that there are ways to work with these that help you unleash, who help those chains and locks be opened, and that what has been held underneath is always, there are always strengths, and the emotions connected with those systems of believing, there are always emotions that may surprise you, that are from the positive realm, that are part of your divine codes that you've been holding safe and back and away. And we've been doing very deep work with this in my programs, where it's been so, like, women get so surprised, delighted, and surprised at what has been underneath. You think that the tears will never stop, or that the scarcity will never end, or that the negative patterning will never be broken or never end, no matter how hard you try. And yet there are ways, when we enter into these other realms, not from the same duality, but when we enter from the soul space and connect in with your personality in very practical ways, that these can be released, that these can shift, and that you can, in fact, access the parts of yourself that you're longing for, that you've been craving for, but haven't been able to know how to access, that have been locked, hidden, sometimes submerged so far back that it's not even in your conscious awareness, right? These are the places that we travel to, that we can work with greater, and I will say, with greater and greater ease. It was different 20 years ago. And that is because there's more and more people doing this, and there's specific energies available more and more, that, like these coming in, every time somebody, a light worker, anybody claims something for themselves, their guides are saying, in a positive way, those energies come in more fully, and you get to anchor them in how they work for you, and that ripples into the collective, and it does make a difference. And it is making a difference, even in the face of tremendous hardships, even in the face of tremendous pain and suffering in the world. There are positive changes that are being made, that are happening, and that can continue to happen. And those are the places that are so important to keep illuminating and to continue with conviction. Step into, stand in, and allow that to strengthen in and through you, so that you can be part of this positive change and holding that light, that beacon, no matter how small you think your range of people are, to no matter how big. It is important. Even if you are on an island and all by yourself, even if it feels like you have been on an island and all by yourself, it is important. And for anyone, while these energies that they've been working with are stabilizing and filling, for anyone who is not on my email list and wants to be informed of what new things are coming up, new events and stories and what's happening, There's things that go out to my email list that don't get on Facebook or on Instagram. And sometimes things that are on Facebook that don't get into my newsletters and Instagram. So you can go to my website, www.onehearthealingcenter, that's O-N-E, One Heart Healing Center, CENTER.com. And you can sign up in the upper right hand. There's a place, and on the main page there's a couple of places where you can sign up and get a free gift about communicating with your animals. It's a great, wonderful kit, and then also hear about any specials that I'm running. I'm running one right now about Akashic reading records or animal communication sessions, doing half-hour sessions at a special price, and so you can find out about those. The only place you can get that information is through my email list right now. It's not posted on my website as such. And also, if you'd like to talk with me about how you wanting to do more of this in-depth work, more than just a half-hour session, you can email me at Sandy at onehearthealingcenter.com, or private message me on Facebook if you're watching this on Facebook. And one way to help this type of information to get out into more places and to help more people be able to have this available to them is by liking and making comments on this. The algorithms pick that information up and sharing it on Facebook. And also you'll be able to find it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel for One Heart Healing. And that's a great place to like, if this resonates with you, of course, and comment, and subscribe, and share. So thank you, thank you, thank you. In honor of the river of abundance, the flow of and wisdoms in your own heart and soul, and for us as a collective, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time, or in Facebook, or on Instagram, or in one of my classes, or in a private session. Bye. I'm Sandy Rakowitz, One Heart Healing Center.